Aye, a day. Man, why can't we just get, you would think after like almost dying in a pandemic that we'd just be happy to work with each other, you know? Like we almost died, everybody. This is our chance. God gave us another chance. He said, hey, here it is. Work together. That's how I feel. I feel like this pandemic, we dodged a freaking bullet.
It is what it is.
Amen. It is
Remember
written.
that?
What book of the Bible is that in? Because I feel like we need to go add that to the Bible now.
I think we should ask the Archbishop.
We should ask the Archbishop. Good morning, Archbishop.
Good morning.
I don't know.
The book's name is Tautology.
Well,
man, oh man.
it's 8:57. Good morning. Archbishop Michael Burns now joins the program. Good morning, Archbishop, and thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Chris. Good to see you.
I think we need to get a, you know how you
Sorry
did.
for being, sorry for last week.
No problem.
Just,
Sorry.
Yeah, don't.
I was
fine.
in bad shape.
Yeah. I feel like when when you go to mass and the Deacon Steve reads out like all the people you're going to pray for. I think we need to add in like senators and the governor just to keep it fresh. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah.
Is there a suggestion box? It's definitely.
Yeah, we've been kind of how do you kind of a little stale. Our petitions are pretty just by rote right now, so I will try to get them to diversify.
There you go. Well, we wanted to get you in because you guys had come out with a release about this Johnson & Johnson vaccine, Archbishop. So we'll go ahead and start there.
Okay.
If you could maybe just go into a little more detail about what you meant when you said that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine was morally
Unacceptable.
basically.
Yeah, basically. Or morally acceptable were the Pfizer and Moderna.
Right. And so it's relevant, relative. So, yeah, I my expertise in theology was not moral theology; it was biblical theology. And so, fortunately, we have a number of bishops who had their doctorates in moral theology. So, one of the things about moral theology is there are different levels of moral acceptability and unacceptability. So the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines that those are the two that are prominent here in Guam at this point. And so the Pfizer and Moderna cell lines there is like the substrate for building these vaccines derived from a cell line that was the product of it was like the substrate of a cell line to where they could build this vaccine. Those two cell lines go back several decades. And time is not the only question about the relative level of cooperation, moral cooperation. But the point is that the Johnson & Johnson vaccine was the Pfizer and Moderna was, like I say, it was the substrate for building a vaccine. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine was developed and tested and is produced with the abortion-derived cell lines, which is to say We're talking about material cooperation. And so it's just their connection with Johnson & Johnson's connection to the original abortion-derived cell line is much closer. And so the Congregation for Doctrine of the Faith has a way of dealing with this. That is, just to say that it is morally acceptable to receive, first of all, it's morally acceptable to receive the COVID-19 vaccines that have, and all the ones that we have some connection with aborted tissue. Or the tissues that come out of an abortion. So none of these have formal cooperation. It wasn't like they said, okay, we're going to have, a lady get an abortion, and so we can get a vaccine. That's not part of that's not even part of the conversation. So, the Congregation for Doctrine of the Faith says that if the COVID-19 vaccines are not even the ethically irreproachable COVID-19 vaccines aren't available, then we would want to have this Johnson & Johnson that we would still have the opportunity to make a decision that in the absence of any vaccine, and if this was the only vaccine left around to us, it would be acceptable for us on the grounds of human dignity to take that vaccine.
I'm confused, Archbishop. So,
yeah, I am too.
Yeah.
So basically you're saying that if we hope that the government will give us a choice, and if there is no choice, then
go ahead and take it anyway.
The Johnson & Johnson.
Bingo. Thank you for that.
Right
and since issuing this pastoral message to the Catholic faithful, have you received any response, any reaction, whether it's from people within the church or from the government?
Well, the government is the one that's, for the most part, is the one that's bringing, organizing the various vaccines. And so we've been working primarily with Pfizer and Moderna, which are morally acceptable. And we've got a newcomer in Johnson & Johnson, and it is morally acceptable. And so I think the people here have been really eager to get a vaccine. I mean, it's going to vary between, different ages and different circumstances, of course. But in the case here, what the bishops from the Bishops' Conference in the U.S., are kind of like bottom line is, if you can get Pfizer and Moderna, those are the ones that we would encourage people to get.
Archbishop, so let's say someone out there, a devout Catholic, they're going to get vaccinated. There's no Pfizer, no Moderna. They end up taking the Johnson & Johnson. Is there like a penance that they need to do?
No.
I'm asking that honestly.
Again, these are issues of also of Catholic social teaching, and the primary pillar is human dignity, and so the loss of life is the greatest indignity to humans. And we don't want to leave people just saying, "I don't have a choice." No, you have a choice. You can take the Johnson & Johnson if you can't get the others.
But just
So-
again to clarify, is the Johnson and Johnson vaccine morally acceptable?
Yes, it is morally acceptable.
Okay, just as Pfizer and Moderna
Yeah.
are morally acceptable.
Correct. Yeah.
So at the time that you issued the pastoral message, it didn't seem like it was, because it says, please note that my guidance as to the moral acceptability of the vaccines refers specifically to Pfizer and Moderna that are currently being used on island.
Yes.
So is it a
So
180?
now Johnson and Johnson is morally acceptable.
In the circumstances. Yes.
Okay. But if you have the option, it's preferred that you take the
It's
Moderna and Pfizer.
But if you don't, go ahead and take the Johnson and Johnson.
Okay.
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 Can we talk
They
about?
use a lot of fancy
talk
words.
about-
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Where's that coming from? I'm
We
getting an
don't wanna
echo of
make it-
myself.
Where's that coming from? I'm getting an echo of myself.
Oh, is that Lillian? Somebody? Archbishop, what about Palm Sunday? So I heard BYOP, bring your own palms.
bring your own palms. Well, if I was in Detroit, that would be a big problem. We don't have palm trees in Michigan. I think there are a few extra palm trees around here that people could find palms.
Yeah, yeah. And then Easter. So obviously we didn't have Easter. Well, we didn't have Easter in the traditional sense last year. What is it looking like for this year? The climb up the mountain, all that stuff. Is any of that in place for this Lenten season?
That seems to me to be a kind of like an island-wide thing. It's kind of like a happening from my point of view, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember what happenings were back in the 60s. Maybe you weren't born then, but yeah, no, I don't. So I have no idea really what folks are going to be doing going up the mountain.
Well, I wanted to ask you because
I've been up there.
Right.
It's really pretty cool.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you because today does mark 1 year since the pandemic hit Guam.
Yeah.
And, the church, has been hit hard just like everybody else. And we did lose, what's his name? Fermodat Chalampago. Do you remember his name, Chris?
Yes.
Father. He was the founder of Catholic Social Services, and I can't believe I can't remember his.
Father David Kitikwa.
What?
Father David
Yes, Father-
Kitikwa.
Father-
Kitikwa, yeah,
Yeah,
Father David
Monsignor
Kitikwa.
Kitikwa,
Yeah,
yeah.
Monsignor Kitikwa. So I just wanted to get you to speak about, reflecting on this past year.
Yeah. Yeah. I just watched the special address for the second time. So it was exactly a year ago that Ms. Leon Guerrero, or Magahaga, announced the what we're up against. One of the things that I tried to do right from the beginning, especially when we were starting this, we got the wisdom that, face masks, I'm pulling mine up, are important, but they're a pain at the same time. So what I tried to promote was wearing your mask is an act of charity. And as Christians, we're bound to charity, that we want the best for each person, no matter who they are. Every human being is precious to us. And so we tried in the church to do our best to keep people safe, to sanitize, to wash your hands a lot, all these things that we in staying isolated, and it's one of the things that the church is able to do is we touch real people, at least on a weekly, if not daily time. And that's one of the power of the church. When we say, what's the tone of the people? Well, we know these people. Maybe not, always individually, but we know these people, and we know what makes them tick, makes them want. One of the things I often marvel at is, why do people keep coming on a perfectly good Sunday morning? Why do they keep coming? Well, there's something important, right? There's something that drives people in faith. And so when it came to, the masses, there was a while there we were doing masses where people would drive up to receive communion. It was a bother. But folks were willing to put up with it because it was that important. So I think we tried to, and I think we did actually make a kind of partnership with our church leadership and our secular leadership in the government of Guam. We've stayed in close connection with the Department of Health. We actually have an informal liaison in Ms. Kathy Castro, who has just been a tremendous asset for both for public health, but especially for the church, for her to give us the wisdom, or to be the conduit to the various things that needed to happen in the Department of Public Health. So that's where we started learning about sanitizing. That's where we started we started buying those radar the things you had to put up against the temperatures that were, I'm a Luddite. I still have one of those, thermometers that you stick in your mouth. But so we started investing in those. And a big part of the reason was we wanted our people to be safe. And I remember even having a conversation with the governor and saying, Governor, we really work hard at this. And she said, I've been to 4 of the parishes, and you guys really do it well. Why? Because we want to have the Mass. We want to have the Eucharist. And, in the grace and providence of God, we've been able to do it. So I think it's also for us in the church, we've become closer to one another because we had to work together. And so I'll be grateful for the day that we don't have to wear masks, but there's something about it that still resonates to me, that we're not out of this completely. And honestly, one of the things I found is that I didn't get a cold this last year.
Nobody did. They only got COVID.
Right, I know. Either that or nothing, right?
Right, yeah.
Oh, God, help us.
Yeah. Well, ask him now to help us.
I have been asking him to help us every single day.
Thank you for that, Archbishop. And thank you for coming on to kind of clarify the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. It's always an honor to get you on the show. We should do it more often. So keep us posted and shoot me a text if there's anything else you want to get out about any of the, Easter, anything you guys are doing with the church.
Well, since we do have you on here, I wanted to get your reaction to the partial settlement on the ACLU lawsuit.
I'm not prepared to talk about that one.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. Sorry.
That's okay.
All right.
Thought I'd give you the opportunity.
Yeah.
Thank you, Archbishop.
You're welcome, Chris.
We'll see you. Okay.
All right, guys.
Bye. Archbishop Michael Burns, 917. We'll take a quick break. Lillian Posadas, the Guam Memorial Hospital, is coming up next right here on The Link. Join KU.
Only one company on Guam provides every solar energy solution.